Redditors who have been in natural disasters, what was your "oh this is real" moment? Black Saturday, huge ducking bushfire that held nearly 200 people. Injured 400 and destroyed 3,000 plus buildings, including over 2,000 homes. In Victoria, Australia in February 2009. Some of the people that died or were injured were people I knew or knew of. We were a bit stupid. We'd moved from an area where bushfires were very rare and the yearly disaster of choice was floods. So we didn't really have a plan in case of bushfire, which, if you live in a fire-prone area, for the love of God make one. So we weren't listening to the radio. We weren't packed to go. We didn't have an escape plan. The "oh this is real" moment was when I was standing on the top of a hill, overlooking the paddocks. The sky was black and orange, and in the distance I could see this line of orange. And I went, "oh, that's pretty close." Then we just started hosing everything down, because it was too late to run. The fire got within 5-10 minutes of us. My friend's property was partially burnt. Went up to their shed before the wind changed. I was on the beach when the Boxing Day tsunami hit. Was sitting there talking with my brother when he noticed the bubbling water. He went, "That's not good." We started packing our stuff up and were walking up the beach. I looked back and saw the water receding and just about died. Screamed, "Run, run now," while my brother, smartly, yelled, "Tsunami is coming, run for your lives." We started running as quick as we could. There was a woman about 20 feet in front of us with 3 kids, one in her arms. He grabbed one. I grabbed the other and the 3 of us just ran. We were lucky and got high enough, but I'll never forget that sound. It was ducking terrifying. Edit, so this blew up. For everyone saying my bro and I are heroes, thank you, but I don't agree. We did what any decent person would do. We alerted others and helped those who needed it. That is not a heroic act. We did not place ourselves in danger. We slightly varied our path to help people who needed it. If there were 500 M to our side, we would not have gone to help. It was fortuitous they were where we could help the best. I just moved to the beach in South Carolina about 4 months ago. About 3 weeks after moving down, Hurricane Matthew was heading toward the state. Initially, I didn't plan on leaving. But the most astonishing part for me was that 2 days before the storm, the lines to get into gas stations were miles long. It took around 2 hours for people to get gas. I decided to leave the next day, and the state government decided to reverse both lanes of I-26. Nothing is freakier than seeing both lanes of the interstate going the same direction. Even though I didn't stay through the storm, just experiencing this made me feel like the situation was completely ducked. The 7.8 Canberra earthquake in November. Though it ended up not being too bad for us. It hit about 1 in the morning on a Monday. And I was grumpy because it woke me up. I tried going back to sleep, but it kept waking me up, like someone was roughly shaking me awake. The bed was getting thrown about. It felt like lying on a trampoline when someone else was jumping on it, and there was a long low rumble. We knew it was a really big one when, after scouring Twitter, news sites and radio, we decided to start walking towards the hills. At 1:30 AM. With our tiny dog in our arms. Because there was a tsunami coming. Tsunami sirens are not a happy sound. It ended up being 2 feet high though, so we would have been fine. San Francisco 1989. My boyfriend and I were in our apartment and we felt an earthquake. We are both native Californians and were not fazed at all. We went and stood in the doorway and waited for it to stop. But it just kept going, and after a couple of seconds the power went out and the earthquake kept going. We realized this was not a normal quake and we looked at each other in fear. There was not much damage at our house because we were in Bernal Heights, which is on bedrock. Our neighbor went out to his car to listen to the radio and we could hear it. It said the cyberstructure had collapsed and I was very confused. I did not know much about computers at that time and I thought it was very strange that there was a cyberstructure which was an actual physical thing that could collapse during an earthquake. Later I found out that this was the Cypress structure, which was a freeway overpass. When the earthquake started, we're watching the show Small Wonder, which is about a little girl robot. It was a terrible show and we were laughing at how stupid it was. As we were standing in the doorway scared that we might die, I remember thinking if I die the last thing I will have done was watch that stupid plastic sitcom about a little girl robot. So I was glad I didn't die. 2003 Canberra Bushfires. On a farm south of the city. Watching 3 columns of smoke from separate fires merge into a single massive fire front and roar over a mountain range a few kilometers away. Heading towards us. Then evacuating across a river while burning leaves started falling around us and starting spot fires. Bushfires are fucking terrifying. I got caught on the freeway when it was a brush fire in the median strip. That felt hot as hell and I was crying in the car. I can't even imagine what it must be like to be caught in a real one. I was in Michigan during the ice storm of 2013. Most of my city went without power for a week, with some areas going as long as 12 days. I was without power for 9. It's not unusual to lose power in Michigan. A lot of our power lines are old and need replacing, especially in winter. It was a Saturday night when power went out. So I just piled on extra blankets onto my bed and figured power would be back on in the morning. That exact thing had happened at least 10 times in the past to me that I can remember. And it's probably happened even more times than that and I just never realized it because I slept through it. It wasn't until the next morning, when I woke up to a house that was about 50 degrees Fahrenheit inside and with no power on yet, that I realized shit was getting real. I ended up having to use my fireplace for those 9 days and making a blanket bed on the floor near it to keep from freezing. My pipes actually did freeze, and I had to slowly warm those up before I could use them. At the coldest, I think my kitchen, the farthest room from my fireplace, dropped down to just barely above freezing. I still remember the Northridge earthquake a while back. Lived near the epicenter apparently. Woke up to the sound of clanging dishes. Only this time everything was moving violently. It felt like forever. It was less than a minute I roll. And when it stopped, there was this eerie calm, aside from all the car alarms going off. When I was a teenager, I went outside during a tornado warning to look around when it got quiet. Then looked up and saw the clouds circling like water around a drain directly over my house. Apparently that particular funnel cloud was retracting. Hence the break in storm noise as it passed overhead. Very humbling sight. Hurricane Sandy for me. I have so many stories to tell. That entire month felt like living in a recently occupied war zone. And I was on Long Island. Which, for youse that don't know, is not only a coastal region, but a coastal region completely surrounded by water, the Atlantic to boot, and barely above sea level. You can imagine the results. It was a hell of a time. I knew it was horrible. I thought repeatedly the whole time that it was a load of complete shit. Unlucky shit. You know. The worst kind. But what really got me was when I was sleeping on the cement floor in my basement. The rest of the house was cold as ice. And I turned on a battery-powered radio for some noise. Every station was playing little infomercials about donations and relief efforts. About Sandy. Inspirational speeches with government officials. About Sandy. Heartfelt stories. Interviews with survivors. The artificial voices of celebrities calling for the listener to have a soul. And help. All of this. Usually accompanied by sad music. Home by Philip Phillips is one I remember vividly. And at that moment, in the second week living in a leaking, powerless, heatless, hole-riddled house, on a ripped-up street littered by fallen wires and trash, I understood that the rest of the country and a bit more actually pitied us. I'd never been pitied before. It felt bizarre. So I turned the radio off. I was still living in Peru when the 2007 earthquake happened. It was late afternoon. And lazy 8-year-old me was sleeping in the living room, when I was woken up by my dog barking at the shaking window next to me. Now, small quick tremors are fairly common in Peru, especially in the coastal regions. So I dismissed it and tried to calm my dog so I could fall asleep again. I had walked 4 steps from the couch to grab her when the entire wall-length window shattered in front of me. Huge sharp chunks falling right into the couch I had been lying in just seconds ago. Fully woken up, I could hear what sounded like a million car alarms ringing from the ground and see towers wobbling side to side. My parents were still at work, and I was alone in a ducking 10th floor flat with a panicking dog running circles around me. So I don't know how I managed to get myself together. I lifted my giant English big digger in my arms and ran into the emergency stairs. Just ran and ran until I could see some street lights, since the damn building had no emergency lights and everything was dark. When I finally crossed the lobby's doors, I could see the pavement below me cracking and entire trees shaking from their roots up. I stayed in the streets for about an hour until my parents arrived. I later learned I was the only person in our building that left. Our neighbors took the elevators and got stuck, and those who didn't stayed inside praying for safety. It was a miracle none of them got injured. However, others were not so lucky. I think I'm in labor. My wife gave me that news while Hurricane Gloria was whipping the hell out of Long Island. Fortunately it was a long labor, because we couldn't leave for the hospital till the storm calmed down. The worst of it was when they returned home, because we didn't have power for the first 2 weeks of our first child's life. I was a senior in high school in Joplin, MO, when the tornado hit. My friends and I were on the highway driving home and the storm was right behind us. We pretty much flew down the highway going 90 and then barricaded ourselves in our friend's cellar, and when we came out, everything was flat and our high school had been leveled completely. Been in a few hurricanes and 2 tornadoes. First tornado, didn't know any better. Was playing Monopoly with family at my grandma's in an all-glass room. We didn't notice until it was about over. The house behind us were all wrecked. We got really lucky. Second tornado, was driving to the Talladega Spring Race in college on spring break. The weather was really sheety. I didn't know how sheety until we stopped at Waffle House and they had a TV going telling everyone to stay off the roads. Pre-hurricane, it is almost always the same. Everyone is going everywhere. Getting gas, believe me. You want a full tank. Supplies. Raiding groceries for food and booze. Cleaning out pot dealers. And so forth. All this is happening on a clear sky hot day with a nice stiff wind that is welcome in the heat. During the storm, unless you are in the sheet, it is pretty manageable. The problem is outside of the people getting the direct hit. You don't know where the sheet is going to be. I'll use Isaac for example. I was in Baton Rouge and it was nothing. 40 miles south and it was hell. Same with Katrina. Baton Rouge didn't get it that bad. After the storm, you are drunk. No AC. It is miserably hot. And you are helping neighbors clear stuff off of the road. It is worth getting out of town just to avoid this. The nights are miserable. I rode through Hurricane Rita when I was like 10ish. Bowman, Texas. I told my dad that I wanted to see what gale force winds were like. Being 10, I fell asleep before the fun started. My father woke me up and told me to go look outside. I watched it destroy the ducking fence. 10-year-old me thought that was real as duck. I then spent the next week repairing said fence with the dad. 2 weeks without power and learning how to put things back together. All in all, the house was fine. Just light damage. Was an excellent experience overall. I'm not sure if the weight of it carries beyond West Alabama, but Tuscaloosa on the 27th of April, 2011, when James Spann uttered the words "Oh God, it's over" downtown. When James' mother, ducking king of Sirius Spann, says "Oh God" on air, you know that you are in a state well and truly beyond screwed. I was visiting my cousin in LA, and while I was sleeping, I was woken by an earthquake and I sat right up. The whole room shook for like 15 seconds, which was a surreal experience. After it was over, I took a bit to calm myself and got out of bed to check on my cousin. He was still lying in bed and mumbled to me that it was nothing and told me to go back to sleep. Duck. I instantly felt like a pussy. Went upstairs in the eye of the hurricane and saw that there was no longer a roof over my living room. Massive hailstorm hit West Texas when we lived there. Baseball-sized hail showed no mercy on our brand new Honda Civic. It was totaled. 2004 Christmas tsunami. And I was staying in the Rosasayang Golden Sands in Penang. The earthquake woke me up while I had a massive hangover. Fine. I've been through earthquakes before. No problem. Go down to the beachfront pool area. Relaxing, having Bloody Mary and some food. Then people start moving towards the beach. So I go to have a look. There was a massive chunk taken out of the horizon. We just watched it. For like 10 minutes. The sea started to retract. And the fishermen boosted out to sea without saying anything. People uneasily moved away. But continued to watch. The moment I saw the speed the sea was coming back, I knew shit was about to get real. I and everyone around me ran. A girl got caught. And her partner managed to snatch her back out. Reactions of a mongoose. It's only luck or a miracle for me that our section of the beach happened to draw the full wave further down. I got back to the pool area and turned to see the wave had begun to turn. It still made it to the pools though. The fishing village 200 m down the beach was demolished. They were pulling bodies out of the water for the next couple of weeks. I've lived in Florida for just about 2.5 years and my first serious storm was Hurricane Matthew. I was used to people blowing off the little hurricanes that threatened to blow through. So I wasn't freaked out until the day it was due to hit. I was working a shift and the reality of the storm slowly dawned on me as I tended to the mad rush of people buying supplies for evacuating their pets. My oh shit moment came when one of the managers, who is from Puerto Rico, stopped saying he was going to spend the hurricane grilling out and started saying that it was a storm to be afraid of. I was mad because mom wouldn't let me leave to go to Whataburger because there was a small branch breaker tornado on the ground. I was standing on the corner of our block watching it when it ripped the roof off of the car wash, which was right next door to Whataburger. I went inside and listened to my mom now. I was on the 11th floor of a 40-year-old building here in Japan when the earthquake early alarm system went off informing that a Shindoi 9 earthquake was going to hit in a few seconds. For a moment we looked around like, well, goodbye. It turns out it was a rare false alarm. St Helens Eruption. My family lived about 50 miles to the SW of the mountain. We all knew it was going to happen. There had been earthquakes for months. They evacuated as many people as would go. The Sunday it erupted. We were have a lazy morning and didn't turn on the TV. My aunt called from Eastern Washington asking what the hell was going on because they were getting ash and the sky was black. I ran outside to watch the ash plume just blow and blow into the sky. It never seemed to stop. Eventually I got bored and went inside. No one really remembers that St Helens had several smaller eruptions in the following months. We had ash fall from a couple of them. Had to wear masks on our face all the time to not breathe it. The ash was like cement if it got wet. During Hurricane Sandy, I decided to drink a shit ton of Jack Daniels, as is tradition. Then go outside to see just how bad the storm was. I got about 300 feet from the entrance of my apartment and realized that I was surrounded by 3-foot thick 100-plus-year-old oak trees. That was my oh shit moment. Oh shit, one of these trees or gigantic branches could fall on me. That and when Manhattan and all of North New Jersey went pitch black. Tornado. Since our house was near train tracks and an airport, and it wasn't even tornado season, I didn't place the rumbling noise or something out of place. I was headed upstairs to the second story when it clicked. The resonance wasn't dissipating as a plane would. It was ominously steady. Another family member was there and I asked if they had heard a siren, which would alert everyone. Then all the lights went out. We booked it down the stairs in the darkness as the noise droned on and things hit the house. We made it into the basement. The tornado touched down before and after our street. Destroyed some businesses. Rained glass and debris on our neighborhood. But spared the houses. We sat around without power the rest of the night while police rerouted cars from the highway down our street and back onto the highway. Ton of people who must have come to gawk. but weren't allowed into the area. Turns out one of the first things the tornado sucked up was the city's tornado siren. Well, usually when we get a tornado warning, it's in either the northern or southern part of our county. We are dead center. A few years ago, I'm watching the storm reports come in from the weather service. My dad is watching TV when we both see a tornado warning lit up for our part of the county and decided, duck it. Let's go outside because we're both total loony bins. The twister that had touched down to our southwest had lifted and reformed about a mile or two due north of the house and was just coming down to destroy the first of many trees in its path. I want to say it was an EF1. First twister I've ever seen. I roll. Seeing that ducker come down out of the clouds was my oh shit. This is real moment. Hurricane Sandy. Leaving work that Friday, I work downtown Nick, thinking, this is being blown out of proportion. Came home. Jim Cantor was reporting from Battery Park, aka downtown Nick, as they say. If you see Cantor in your area, GTFO ASAP. There are loads of stories about 9/11. But my oh shit moment was seeing fighter jets scrambling overhead. The song This Is Not America came to mind. St. Patrick Day earthquake in Cali back in 2014. 5.4 earthquake early in the morning. I was in the shower and got thrown out. Took the shower curtains down with me and hit my head on the tile. The shaking went on for about 20 seconds. When the shaking stopped, I remember yelling at my fiancée, grab Grover, guinea pig, over and over again. Cali is overdue for the massive earthquake and I thought the big one was going to hit. We waited for a good 20 minutes but nothing came. I had taped my forehead and holy gonads was Grover shaking. This will probably get buried. But oh well. Grew up in Florida, so I'm used to hurricanes. Anyway, I'm out of state for work when a hurricane hits back home where my parents and wife are hunkered down in the home I grew up in. Power goes out. My parents had a generator that they ran properly, with the garage door cracked. The problem is, you can hear one of those things from a pretty good distance when the rest of the neighborhood has no power. Everything else is dead quiet. The first day, no big deal. The second day, neighbors begin to stand around in front of my parents' house demanding access to the power. The third day, they are banging on the garage door and appear to be making preps to storm the house for it. My parents and wife are terrified. Then, the power comes back. The neighbors just wander off. My parents moved shortly after. I find it very hard to trust people now after knowing how few are prepared for even common disasters. And how quickly they will turn on you in a disaster if they know that you have something that will help them. A ton of my family members who live closer to the coast than I do came to stay at our house to ride out Hurricane Ike. The outer bands hit with some wind and rain and it just felt like a big party until we all went to bed and I woke up to find the electricity out and the windows loudly vibrating and rattling from 110 miles per hour winds. I had to share my bed with two cousins and it got really hot with no AC, so we were just laying there on a bare mattress and I basically couldn't sleep the rest of the night. It was terrifying. I just remember wanting it to be over. Walking around the neighborhood looking at all the damage the next day was cool though. 72 Mississippi River flooding in Missouri. We lived pretty far from the river so it was all newspaper stories, no TV. Until we volunteered to go sandbag. And there teenage me was filling and stacking 60-pound sandbags to surround a neighborhood. And the water kept coming up and up and up. I would climb up the 6-foot wall we built and look at the water. That was a foot from the top of the house where we slept in the garage on cardboard mats with National Guard blankets. Seeing that high water made me a little pain in the ass. Damn it, Kevin. Put the ducking bag the other way around. You wanna drown in your goddamn sleep?